Okay, good morning. Just another reminder, if you haven't checked in, make sure you do. It's going to help you get prizes at the end of the day today. And to welcome to the technology conference. My name is Stephanie Salinas. I'm the high school math curriculum specialist. And today we're going to be going over student growth. Okay. So if you checked in this morning, you don't have to check in again. It's just once all day. This is just a reminder. So that way you can make sure you're scheduled for prizes and stuff like that. So for today's session, by the end of it, you're going to be able to create your own student growth monitoring template. Yes, the code is Tech24. Sorry. So by the end of today, I'm going to show you how to create your own student growth monitoring template. And then we're also going to go to DMAC and find a report that you can use that will automatically calculate your growth. So it's basically just using Excel and then getting a report from there. So I'm going to go over just a little bit of why it's important, and then I'm going to talk about the STAR growth measures. And then together we'll build your own template that you can use throughout the year. And then I'm going to show you how you use it. Okay. So you will need Excel in a little bit. But we'll go through that process, and I'll go with you pretty slow. So that way we make sure everybody understands how you can make it yourself. Also, I just want to let you know that anything that I do on Excel, if you prefer Google Sheets, you can also do. But for today, I'm going to be using Excel. Okay, so why is it important for you to track your student growth? Okay, it makes sure that your students are on track to meet or exceed expected learning outcomes. For example, if our students are in 6th grade and they're getting approaches, we know that they're not on grade level, right? Like they need to be on meets in order to be at grade level. So if you are tracking their growth from the year before and you saw that they were at approaches, then you know this year I need to work a little harder, and that student needs to work a little harder to make sure they get to the meets grade level, to make sure they're on where they need to be. Tracking student growth also is beneficial for the teachers because it helps you throughout the year. If you track from the year before to benchmark 1, you get to keep track of, okay, my students are growing. So far, they're still where they were at last year. Or if they regressed, if they passed last year, then in benchmark 1, they're not doing so well. Those are things that a teacher can reflect on and say, you know, what's going on with this student? Is it personal? Is it something at home? Is it something in the classroom? Do I need to adjust my, my teaching method or reteach something? And then one of the, one of the other important reasons is student growth measures on the STAR are a key component of the Texas accountability system, which evaluates the performance of our school and our district as a whole. So I'm going to go into that a little bit more on the next slide. Right now, we're going to do something called this or that. It's just a little 5-question. Let me see. There's a QR code, so you can scan it. And then it's just going to ask you 5 little questions. If the QR code doesn't work for you or you don't have it, I put the link in the chat, so you can go from there. And I think it asks you if you want to log in or something, and you can just bypass that. You don't need to log in. You can be a guest. And can you give me like a thumbs up in the chat if you were able to access the survey? before I start presenting it. Yes, okay. Oh, okay, so there's the QR code. There's the link if you want to join by web. Thank you. And then there's also in the chat, I put the link. So you should be able to access the little survey. So it says there's 20 people. So let's aim for about 12 surveys completed. I said 12, but so let's go ahead and see. It says one more survey. Okay, so it asked you summer or winter, and most people chose summer. I would have chosen winter. It's so hot in summer. Okay, so next one. See. Book or movie? Most people chose movies. Well, there's another person who's chimed in and chose a book. Okay. Dogs or cats? Oh my goodness, we almost had no cat lovers in here until one person just chose a cat. So there's mainly dog lovers in the chat. Let's see. Would you rather save the world or rule the world? I think the cat lover is the one who chose to rule the world. I'm just going to take a guess at that. But we have a lot of, good people here. And now student achievement or student growth. And I'm so glad that most of you chose student growth. And student achievement is just as important. But we're going to go over both just so you can kind of see the difference and how it weighs in on the accountability scale. Okay. So thank you for everyone who participated. Let me exit that. So we're going to move on. So this is an example. Okay, that's why I put example. These are not real scores. This is not based on any past data or anything like that. This is just something that I did last year when I was trying to learn about the accountability system, just so I can understand it more for myself. And the way I was able to do it was to just kind of break it into different examples. And here, actually, when I share you the PowerPoint, see. Oh no, I'll go back. There's links. So where it says this second red example, there's more examples that you can filter through just to show you different situations. So the system is broken down into 3 domains. We have domain 1, which is student achievement, domain 2, which is school progress, and then domain 3, which is closing the gap. So domain 3 is at 30% of the total score. And we're not going to focus on that part today, but we're going to focus on the 70% and how we can help our district achieve that. So if you look at domain 1, you're going to see star and it weighs in at 40%. But keep in mind, so I'm going to use Algebra 1 as an example today because that's something I'm more familiar with. If I'm an Algebra 1 teacher, my star scores, right, my students achieve and how well they achieve with the approaches, meets, and masters factor into that 40%. But also, so does English 1, English 2, biology, US history, the whole shebang basically is also in that 40%. So while it's still important, it's kind of on a small scale compared to everybody else. You're still relying on everybody else to do their part, like all the subjects is what I mean. And then you also have 40% for CCMR and 20% for graduation rate. Now, if as a whole, we were to focus on academic growth, right? You'll see in domain 2, it looks like it's 50%, but in reality, it's either or. So domain 2 is either how well you did in academic growth or how well you did in relative performance. So which is greater, okay? So I hope this makes sense. If something sounds a little confusing, you can just chime in, or I'll do the best to explain as good as I can. So the 70% that's here, I don't know if you can see my blue dot. This 70% comes from either domain 1 or academic growth or relative performance, not all three. So if you score high in domain 1, right, if everybody did their part to get domain 1 high, it would automatically be our 70%. This example shows academic growth having the highest. So if academic growth, say, was at 88%, like I said, these are just fake numbers, okay? Relative performance was at 85, and then domain 1 totaled to 82, that growth part would shift completely straight to our 70%. And so this whole 70% would only be counted for the academic growth part. So it's, to me, it seems like it's really important to focus on growth, because even if as a, the ELA and math don't get that, it's okay, because since we're moving to push our students higher, chances are they're going to pass anyways, and they're still going to fall back in the star 40%. So to me, it's purposeful to focus on growth, because students are still going to achieve either way. Does that make sense? Do I talk too fast? Sometimes I talk a little fast, but I'm trying to go as slow as possible. Okay, thank you. So I'm gonna go over the growth measure part. So if you can, just give me a thumbs up either on the React button or in the chat if you've seen this before, if you know what this is. Or a sad face if you have no idea what it is. Okay, so far we only have one. I'm glad it's Myra. Okay, no, haven't seen this before. Okay, so if you haven't seen it, it's okay. I'm going to go over that right now. And also, when you get the PDF, there's a lot of links that you can click, and it's going to take you to the TA website. So if you want to look into this information for yourself, there's a manual on there. Most of it comes from chapter 3. And you can read through it, and everything is going to be there, all this information, okay? But I'm just taking out the main points. So this is our growth chart. This is how TA measures or gives us points for the students that grow. So in the past, it was always just did not meet, approaches, meets, and master's grade level. Now, in case you don't know, a student can have failed in 3rd grade, for example, and then failed again in fourth grade, but did a little better, and they still give us 1 point. Okay, so here it says low did not meet, and then they went to high did not meet. So they still failed, but they still give us 1 point because they grew. Okay, they got better. And that's what they want to see. So here, right, if they did not meet and they got to approaches, they still give us 1 point because they grew. Okay, so we look from here. Can you all see the blue dot? I think it's kind of big, but I don't know if you can see it. I see a blue dot. Yes, okay. So here there's a high did not meet and high did not meet. So if they stay in that middle ground, they only give us half a point. So if they didn't grow, but they didn't regress, they still give you half, okay? So we look here on the side. Low approaches to meets, they give you 1 point. So you can see that it's going up, right? If they got meets, say in fifth grade, and then in sixth grade, they got approaches, they give us nothing because they went down. Okay, they have to go up. Or for these high levels, of course, at meets and meets, they still give you 1 point because that's kind of challenging. And so is the same thing for masters to masters because they can't grow above masters, right? So if they stay at meets in both grade levels or at masters, they still give you the 1 point, okay? Does that part make sense? Okay, I'm gonna ask for, see if you understand, okay? So if somebody got high approaches in fifth grade, okay, and then they got high approaches in sixth grade, how many points did they give us? So from high approaches to high approaches, yes, 0.5. Okay, thank you. So if they got masters in sixth grade, and then in seventh grade they got meets, what did they give us? Right, nothing, because they regress, right? We want them to grow. What if they got low did not meet, but then they got high did not meet? What? Okay, so something else that was added, right, is down here. This little part's a little bit confusing when you're reading it, but basically what it tells us is if the student failed, okay, did not meet the year before, and then they passed, okay, at any level. So if they were at low did not meet, high did not meet, and they went to any approaches, masters or meets, they give us 1.25 points, okay? So 1.25. I type it here so you can see. So if we have 4 students, so sometimes we get classes, if you're in the high school, where they kind of group the students. So if you have those kids who didn't pass the year before, and you're aiming for them to pass this coming year, 4 of those students, if they pass, actually count for 5 points because each of those kids are going to give us 0.25. So they're kind of like golden nuggets. So maybe you might feel like, oh, I got this batch of students, but I mean, in the long run, you're giving us more points if those students pass. They get 1.25. So automatically, I'm going to say it again, if they failed the year before, so if a student got low did not meet in grade 5, and then in grade 6, they got approaches, they give us 1.25, okay? So now we're gonna move on to building our template, okay? So what this template does is it calculates it for you because when you're going through it, if you've ever done a little bit of data and you have to go from approaches to meets and you're like, okay, 1 point, 1 point, half point, 1.25. And it's kind of time consuming, even if you only have 30 students in your class, right? So what this is going to do is kind of teach you to manage it on your own and kind of calculate it faster than relying on someone else to present you with the data. So here I have the quote, give a man a fish and you feed him for a day, teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. And this kind of Ms. Garcia, I don't have that answer, but I can look into it and definitely let you know at the end of the session, because it should be there in the handbook. So I'll take a quick peek into that. Yes. So last year when we were attending many trainings, one of the ladies talked about building capacity, right? Giving teachers the power to do this for themselves, because it's all great when your administrators or coordinators or whoever it may be gives you data. But I think it's important that you know where the data comes from, because it's like when you teach something to your students, you could give them the answers all day and tell them, no, you just do it like that. No, just type this in. No, just do that. But you're not teaching them anything. Okay, so what you want them to do is to learn about it, right? Like to gain some more knowledge from it. So that's what we're going to do right now. So you're going to need Excel. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is drop this PowerPoint into the chat, so that way you can open it up on a second screen and follow along, because I'm going to exit this slideshow. So this is the presentation. I want you to open it up so that way you can see the steps, okay? Because I'm going to take the steps down from the screen so I can walk you through the Excel sheet. Okay. So is everybody able to access the presentation? Yes. Okay, just making sure it's not locked or anything. So I'm going to open, let's see, a new Excel. So we're starting from scratch. So this is what you need, an Excel sheet. And then you're also going to need this Lead Forward website. So I'm going to show you first on the website, and then we'll get started on the Excel. So here on Lead Forward, if you go to Performance Standards, and then there's different school years. This is last school year, or 2023-2024. We're going to use this conversion table, and this is what it looks like. So here it has all grades. I'm going to do math, 8th grade to Algebra 1. And I think it would be better if you followed along, even if that's not your subject, just so you can understand the process of creating the template and you can see the same numbers and how I'm organizing it. And then afterwards, if you want help creating your own, then I can walk you through that, okay? If you feel excelled enough that, oh, I understand Excel, I'm pretty good at it, I'm going to just go ahead and do my grade level, you can do that as well. So I'm going to use math 8th grade. So in 2023, this is what I'm going to look at here. And then, so that would be the last year, right? The year before, my Algebra 1 students were in 8th grade. And now this year they were in Algebra 1. So there's different cut scores. This was 8th grade. And then this is our cut scores for this year, okay? So I'm going to use this kind of as a guide. Every year it does change, you know, here and there a couple of numbers, but this is going to be our guide, okay? So let me see if I can do this side by side. I don't know how my microphone got muted. Did you hear me when I was talking about the chart? I don't know what happened. I'll go over that again right now. So here on, I'm so sorry then. Okay, I'll go over that part right now. So what I was saying is that I'm going to focus on 8th grade and Algebra 1. So if you want to do your own grade, you can do that, but I would rather if you just do what I'm doing so you can get the feel of how it works. And then if you want to go back and create your own grade, then you can do that. So today I'm going to focus on Algebra 1 and grade 8, okay? So I highlighted here for grade 8, this was the year before. These are the cut scores, and then these are the cut scores for this year. So going back to the Excel sheet, the first tab, you're going to rename it as Growth Report. The second tab, you're going to rename it as 8th. Okay, we're going to do a third tab, and we're going to rename it as Algebra 1. And then your fourth tab, you're going to rename it as Growth Points. So no matter the grade, the process is going to be the same. And if you're pretty excelled in Excel, you're going to see that there's these little locks on it on the PowerPoint. Just ignore that for now. We're going to do that in a minute. So does everybody have their 4 tabs at the bottom? Okay, well, if you don't, you can go back and watch it. So here in A1, I'm going to type in LEP. I'm going to do SPED. And then for CD, it's our student name. Okay. On EF is going to be our previous year, 8th grade raw score. And I'm going to pretend that I'm using this to monitor benchmark 1. So this is my 9th grade raw score. Let me see, 9th grade benchmark 1 raw score. I we're going to skip, and then J is going to be our growth point. And if you want to just follow along and watch it, you can do that as well. So these two go merged, these two go merged, and these two go merged. And then you can just color code as you like. There's no particular reason for the color coding. So then I'm going to go to 8th grade, okay? And here is where we need our conversion chart. So if I'm looking at 8th grade, I'll get it side by side. What is my maximum score that I can get? So here it tells you, I'm just going to do it this way. Here are maximum scores right here. It's the first column. 8th grade, my maximum score is a 48. So what I'm going to do here is start at 0 and type all the way down to 48. So instead of typing, you type the first few numbers, you grab it, highlight, and just drag it down. And it should go down to 48. Okay. And then you have to check right here. So this is our next. High did not meet. The raw score says it's at 13. Okay. So that's our cut point. So at 13 is where it's going to start with high did not meet. So these are just the labels that I'm using. If you want to write up the whole word or however you want to do it, that's fine too. So that means here is low did not meet. Oops. Okay. And then our next cut point is this is our low approaches. So the raw score is at 17. So on 17, I'm going to put low approaches. We go back. Our high approaches, our raw score is at 21. I'm going to put it there. Our meets is at 26 and our masters is at 37. So at 26, I'm going to type meets and I said 37 for masters. Okay. Oops, not meters. And then you can just drag it down. So if they received a score in between here, it was low did not meet. If they received a raw score of 15, for example, it'd be high did not meet. This is our low approaches, our high approaches, our meets, and then our masters. Okay. So that would be for our 8th grade tab. Now you're going to do the same process for the next year up. Okay. So now I'm going to go to this side. Our max score is at 59. I'm going to write them down just so then that way I know, and then I don't have to go back and forth. We have 15, 20, 26, 32, and 41 are our raw scores. Okay, so I'm going by raw score. So again, I'm going to do our maximum was 59. So I'm going to drag it all the way down to 59. And then our first cut point was high did not meet. 15. At 20, it was low approaches. 26 is high approaches. Meets is at 32 and masters is at 41. And then you just do the same process and drag it down. So this is the hardest part of the process, is just getting this piece together. After that, everything's pretty easy. This is honestly the most difficult. It's just setting up these two tabs. So once you have those tabs, I'm going to go to this tab. This is going to be the same, okay? This is the chart that we went over from the points, the 0, the 0.5, the 1 point, and the 1.25. So I already have this one done. And because the chart is the same for everybody, I'm going to share that with you. And you can just copy paste. So just let me know if you're just following along, just at least let me know if you can access the Excel sheet. Okay, I am seeing people access the sheet, so I know it's working. So you're gonna highlight it all and you can just copy it into your sheet. Please don't change any of the numbers because then it's going to mess up the formulas. Okay, so just copy and paste it. You can beautify it later if you want, but the information is there. So because our formulas are going to deal with these tabs, and you know, I changed one there. Okay, I'll just leave it like that. I would lock the tabs. So here you would manage protection, right click, manage protection, protect sheet, you turn it on. And then I do a little password. It's literally something like 123, 1234, 12345. Just so that way, if you want to share this with your peers, if you're doing like a department meeting and you want everybody to look at it, but you don't want them to mess up the whole formulas and be like, oh, we don't have 8th grade, why is this here? And delete the sheet. It's good just to put a little password. If you want to put something more extreme, you can do that as well. But I mean, I don't think, if someone sees it locked, I think they're going to know, oh, okay, I can't mess with that, right? So again, it's right click, manage protection. You turn on protect sheet, where it says sheet protection password. You just do a little password. That's only if you want to. You can also just protect it without a password. So now I'm going to go back to growth report, and we're going to set up the formulas. Yes, you can download a copy. That might be better too. Okay. So now we're going to go. So if you're in this setup, we're going to go to where it says 8th grade raw score, the second one. So that would be F2. Okay. And we're going to type equals V look up with no spaces, left parentheses. You can click, right? You're going to click the one before it, and you're going to put a comma, and then you're going to click 8th, okay? The tab down here. It's going to take you to it, and then you're going to highlight everything in the tab, push comma, 2, right parentheses, and enter. That's going to be the formula, okay? So I'm going to do it again with 9th grade in case you didn't see. So now we're going to go to H2. We're going to type equal sign V LOOKUP left parentheses, and we're going to click. So you can just leave it like that. You click the one before it, type comma. Now we're going to go to our other tab, right? Algebra 1. And then highlight all the numbers, both columns, all the way down. Unclick, and then you just type comma, 2, right parentheses, enter. Okay. Did everybody get that? It's also on the PowerPoint. It's number 6, the formulas. Okay. Now we're going to go to I. So on I, you're going to put equals F2. You're going to type the, I think it's like the and symbol. The little quotes, you type 2. I think it has to be lowercase. Type the quotes again. We're going to put the and symbol again, and then we can just type I2 since you can't see it. So it should look like that. And then now for growth point, I'm going to type equals 1040. This ends at 1140. Okay, I'm going to go through it a little bit quicker just to make sure I have time. V lookup, we're going to do left parentheses, I2. So it's going to look at this one. We're going to type comma, click growth points, and then once again, highlight everything. We're going to type comma 2, comma 0, right parentheses, and enter. Okay. And then I'm going to pretend that this is about 30 students. So I'm going to go down here to, I think I said J31. Okay. This just goes at the bottom. So whenever you're done, you can add this, just depending how many students you have. Total growth points, total number of tests, and then growth percentage. And then in this formula, okay, now this goes one over. Now the formula is going to calculate down. So we're going to put equals sum, left parentheses, if, error, left parentheses, and then this is J2 because we're starting at J2 on the top to J30. So whatever cells it's going to calculate, that's what you do. And then you put comma 0 and then 2 side parentheses. So I put 30 because of right here. You see how it ends at 30? So that's where you put it. Total number of tests is equal to count, left parentheses, J2, and it's going to count how many there are from J2 to J30. And then growth percentage is this one, the first one, the number of points divided by the number of tests equals, okay? So this is how you set it up. It's pretty much done. And now I'm going to go to DMAC just so we can make sure we pull the report. And then if you have any questions, that way we can have some time. So when you go to DMAC, we're going to go to data export. I did test it out with a teacher's profile, and they did have access to data export, except they only have access to your students, right? You won't have access to all students. So when it gets to downloading the data part, I'm going to pull up a sample because so that way I won't share everybody's information. Okay. So we're going to go to, so I'm going to be using Southwest as an example. Like I said, when you see the real data, you won't see it. We're going to go to STAR. And I also have it on the PowerPoint everywhere you need to click. Okay, so make sure it's the right grade, 9th grade. This year is, right, we're pretending this school year, 23-24, they took Algebra 1. And then the year before, okay, wait. I'm going out of order for my PowerPoint. So we're going to do last year. So okay, let me do it this way. Sorry. Let me reset so I can start over. So we're going to look at how they did on our benchmark, right? So this year they took a benchmark, right? This is local. These are our tests. This is our benchmark. I'm only going to click over here on the side, raw score. I don't need anything else. And then I'm going to click our LEP students and our SPED students. Okay, so it'll calculate that. And then I'm going to click up here on STAR. So last year they took the STAR, so that would be the year before in 2022 and 2023. And they were in 8th grade, right? And then I'm going to click the same thing, raw score. And then the LEP and the SPED is already selected. Okay, so I'm going to download the report. And now I'm going to share with you this one. Okay, so this is how it's going to look more or less when you download the report. Okay, so here I have a slide that kind of tells you what to do, but it's a little bit complicated, but it's a good thing there's a video so you can go back and look through it. Okay, we don't need state ID or local ID, so I'm going to highlight those and delete them. I don't want percent score or the MET standards, so I'm going to highlight those and delete them. Here's another percent score. You can see right here, and MET standard. I don't want those. Delete them. So of course they're useful, but for today and the template, it's not. Okay. Now we're going to highlight LEP and SPED, cut it, and paste it in the front. Okay, so it can match our template. We have LEP, SPED, first name, last name. And now we're going to move 8th grade in front of 9th grade, because that's the way our template looks. And then here, if you remember, we also have a space, right? So it's 8th grade, there's a space, and then it's 9th grade. So what I'm going to do is highlight now from the top, everything down. Right click, copy. And then where is my? Not here. So here on the top, I'm going to paste. Oh, okay, no, I remember something. Just highlight up to 8th grade, because then it's going to delete our formula right here. So let me go back. This is our sample. I'm going to highlight just the 8th grade first. Sorry, not the title. Copy. Paste. Okay, we're going to fix this right now. And then we're going to do copy, paste, 9th grade. So this is all like sample data, but you'll have your real data. Okay. Let me see if I type it again, if it'll calculate. We look up left to this one, comma. Sometimes Excel can be a little tricky. Why is it at calculating? Okay, 28. Okay, when I did this earlier, it calculates, I swear. So let me show you my template, just so you can see before the session's over. Let me see if it'll calculate here. Well, the formulas are right. You see, this is here. Maybe I need to add the little, there's a number in front. I mean, the number sign, the money sign, I mean. And just so that way the formula calculates all the way down. I'll see what I can do to fix that right now. But look, if you see when I change the numbers, it changes everything together. So it automatically calculates. So if on 8th grade raw score, they scored a 5, it would show load did not meet. If it was 9th grade benchmark 1, a 10, it shows load did not meet, and they got no points. So this is what this formula, well, the template is supposed to calculate, but I don't know why I didn't calculate right now, but it's I'll look at it. So here, say it went to 35, they would have gotten you 1.25 points. And then it'll calculate at the bottom once you have all the data. How many points you got all together, how many tests there were that counted for growth, because they need to have a test from the year before to year now in order to count for growth. And then the percentage is down at the bottom. So did anybody follow along and try? Try switching the columns on the table so you can use column 1. Let me see. To see what mistake I made. Oh, it should have looked here. Let me add the other ones. Okay. Now it's supposed to just automatically calculate, but it's not reading something right. There's something with the, let me open in desktop. Because I really want you to see it and not think I'm a liar. Either way, even though I did tell you I wanted to show you, I did create all the templates. So regardless, you're still going to have them by the end of today. So I think it's something to do. You see how there's this little green thing here? When you're online, sometimes it doesn't work, so you have to get out. So it's reading all of these as errors. So that's what it is. It's reading the numbers as an error. So you would have to highlight them, ignore the error. Let's see. Let me type it again. I should recalculate. Maybe there's an error here too. So you're still going to leave today with something, but I just wanted you to understand how it works. So that way, if you want to do it for yourself, you can. Okay. 28. There, you see, that's what it is. You have to highlight it. So let me show you here with the 9th grade. Highlight it. If it's showing you that little green tab, click here, ignore the error. And then like here, you can retype the number as 26, and then it's going to show you the right formula. So everything just needed to be readjusted. Yeah. So I'm sorry for that little error, but once you right click it down, it should change everything. Yeah, so maybe next time we'll just start in, you should start in the desktop instead of the online version, so you won't have so many errors. Yes, I'm more than happy. You can message me and I'll walk you through it for your own grade level if that's what you want. But it's really handy. I just wanted you to see it like I showed you in the other one. I'm sorry, I don't know why that happened. Well, I do know why. It's the little numbers. But if you have any questions, if you want help, if you want me to walk you through your own, we can do that too. I'm going to go ahead and share with you all the templates that I created because I figured it's a lot to learn sometimes and just the first time hearing something. If you happen to find a mistake in the templates, you can go ahead and tell me and I will correct it. So let me share with you that. Not here. So just let me know if you can access the folder. I don't know when I think there's a moderator in here. Maybe you can let me know. Mr. Rodriguez, do you know when the recording will be available?
Yes, it'll be available like 2-3 minutes after the session ends.
Oh, okay. I think, yeah, it generates in the chat, right? So you can just go to the same chat and you can see it. My email is Stephanie Salinas. You can find me on Teams if you want me to walk you through it on your own, or if you have trouble accessing the templates or you want me to walk through the DMAC file again, I'm more than happy to help you. Is there any questions? Okay, so I'm gonna I have a quick little, let me show you the quick little exit, and then we'll be done within the last 5. So all the steps are there on the PowerPoint. And so are the reports. I highlighted each of them where you need to click just to make sure you get everything. This was kind of that little funky process I told you about, but it's in the recording. It's pretty simple. And then this is just a quick exit, how you utilize the growth monitoring template. If you want to just QR code it and sign out, then you're good to go. Thank you, Miss Yoli. I'm sorry for the little thing at the end, but I mean, I think the process was understood. Hopefully you gained something from today. And if you need any help with anything, please just reach out and I can help you. I have no problem with that. And the templates are all there. If you have trouble accessing them, just let me know too. Thank you, everybody. Yes, please take a moment to fill out the evaluation. It'll be